The final video about the 2020 MLB Draft. This is it. We're going over the entire draft. We're going over every team, every pick. Gonna give you the grade for every single team in the 2020 draft based on my opinion. It's gonna be some spice. There's gonna be some heat. As always, I want you guys to get involved in this video as well. Make sure you get in the comments. Let me know your grades for your favorite team. I want to hear what you guys have to say because honestly, as much as I think I know things, there are a lot of things I'm also gonna be wrong on. The draft is probably one of the hardest things to gauge and judge, but I'm still here. I'm giving it a shot. This is my first year doing draft content. Hopefully, I'm more right than I'm wrong. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like on it. Give some support for that last draft video. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. Remember to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, GiraffeNeckMarc, and let's get going into these grades. Starting it off with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks had a really solid draft in my opinion. Bryce Jarvis, Slade Ciccone, Liam Norris, AJ Bukovic, and Brandon Fad? I don't know how to say his last name. We obviously know how much I like the pick of Bryce Jarvis. I think that's just such a fantastic pick. Slade Ciccone is also going to be a starter in the majors at some point. Got really nice stuff, good arm from the University of Miami. Liam Norris is a left-handed pitcher who's a little bit of work in progress, but I like a lot of the guts in this guy's stuff. Bukovic, Brandon, the guy whose name I can't pronounce. I like pretty much every single pick here. I'm giving the Diamondbacks a grade of A, one of the highest grades in my video. For the Atlanta Braves, they had 4 picks in the draft. Jared Schuster in the first round, Jesse Franklin the 5th, Spencer Strider, and Bryce Elder. Now, I'm not very high on the Jared Schuster pick. I don't think he's one of the best. I don't think he's one of the worst. I see where the Braves could see some potential. Personally, to me, not the guy to take in the first round. Jesse Franklin, one of my lower rated outfield prospects in the draft that were taken. Kind of an all-around player, but doesn't do anything particularly well. Kind of just average everywhere, and I don't see much of a ceiling. Spencer Strider is a guy that you need to see a little bit more of. Didn't see a lot of him at Clemson. And Bryce Elder's an interesting pick, but just not one that makes me jump out of my seat. So for those reasons, I'm giving the Braves a D grade. Baltimore Orioles, the number 2 pick in the MLB draft this year. Didn't get started off hot. Did not like the pick of Heston Kjerstad. I thought it was a big reach. They then followed up with Jordan Westburg, who, as we know, is one of my worst first-round picks as well. Did not like that pick one bit. Hudson Haskin, I'm not on the hype train for Hudson Haskin. Anthony Servideo, though, interesting player. I think he could be a nice little piece at some point. Kobe Mayo, though, is an absolute steal. I love that pick. He's one of my best picks of the draft, one of my favorite prospects. And Carter Baumler is actually a really interesting player as well. So for me, the Orioles, while they didn't start off hot, and these players are still good, just not necessarily my favorites, I'm going to give them a C+. I still think that they got a lot of value, just not necessarily as good as they should have gotten. Boston Red Sox lost that second round pick, of course, because of the cheating scandal, but boy, did they capitalize somehow off not having a second round pick. Nick York in the first round, was it a reach? Yes. But was that pick able to help them get a guy in the third round who's really like a first round prospect in Blaze Jordan? Absolutely. Love those 2 first picks. Nick York can swing the bat. Blaze Jordan can swing the bat. Jeremy Wu Yelland, he's an interesting little left-handed reliever type pitcher from Hawaii, and they took Shane Drone with their last pick. I love the first 2 picks. I'm okay with the last 2. For me, that's going to give them a B- rating. Blaze Jordan in the third round is an absolute steal. Chicago Cubs, really fun draft. A lot of exciting players. Ed Howard, shortstop from Illinois. They kept it in the state. One of the more interesting prospects in the first round. A lot of talent defensively. Needs to build that hit tool, but he's so young, so raw. There's a lot of big stuff coming from Ed Howard. Burl Caraway is a reliever that they seriously might be able to put into their bullpen in 2020. Great left-handed arm. Jordan Nwogo, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right. Guy from Michigan, don't like this pick. He's a massive human being, but boy, is his swing ugly. Luke Little, though, another massive human being. Throws gas. Just doesn't really know where it's going, but I love that pick. And then Cohen Moreno. Overall, for the Cubs, I'm going to put them at B+. I think they have a lot of guys that they can shape and mold into becoming really good players at the major league level. It's just they are going to take some work. None of these guys are guaranteed studs. All that being said, though, what they have can be a lot of fun. South side of Chicago now. We're going to the White Sox. Got to start off in the first round with Garrett Crochet. Second round, Jared Kelly, who you know I'm very high on Jared Kelly. I love that pick. Addison Coffey, Cade Meckles, and Bailey Horn. Addison Coffey, Bailey Horn, a little bit on the fence with those guys. Jared Kelly, we know I said I'm very high on him. And Garrett Crochet is another one of those guys who's going to fly through the minors, come up very, very soon. Some people comparing him to Chris Sale a little bit in the same type of build, the same type of throwing. To me, I'm not as high on Garrett Crochet as others, but I can understand that he is a good ball player. So I'm going to give the Chicago White Sox a B+ grade. I thought they had a solid draft. Staying in the Central, back to the National League, we got the Cincinnati Reds, who had a really solid draft. Started off with Austin Hendrick in the first round. High potential, low floor kind of guy, big hitch in his swing, but if he can fix that, oh man, he's going to be scary at the plate in the outfield. Christian Roa, right-handed pitcher out of Texas A&M. Very interesting pitching prospect. A lot of good stuff there to work with. Could be a part of that rotation for the future. Jackson Miller, catcher, who maybe I'm not as high on, but I'm also very critical of catchers. Bryce Bonin, love the stuff coming out of that kid. He's got an electric arm. Mac Wainwright, one of the guys on my list that didn't make my best picks, but he was very, very close. I love the pick of Mac Wainwright. And Joe Boyle's got some potential too. So for the Cincinnati Reds, they're going to get one of my best grades. They're getting an A as well. The Cleveland Indians, the other Ohio team, didn't get it started off in the first round too hot. I wasn't happy with the Carson Tucker pick. I think that's a crazy stretch. I don't think he's ready, but hey, they got time to work on him, so maybe they know something I don't know. Tanner Burns out of the University of Auburn, solid right-handed pitcher. Logan Allen, a nice left-handed arm, who I see more as a reliever, but maybe he can be a back-end starter kind of guy. P.D. Halpin, really exciting outfield prospect. I like to think of him as like Pete Crow Armstrong light. Milan Tolentino, a nice little shortstop to add to Carson Tucker. Needs to get a little bit better at the plate, but he's got great hands. And their last pick was Mason Hickman. While I didn't like how the Indians draft started, I do like the group of players that they got, so I'm gonna give them a B- rating. I think they had a very solid draft. The Colorado Rockies, they got it started hot in the first round. They got one of the best steals of the draft, Zach Veen at the number 9 overall pick. He's got a beautiful Cody Bellinger, Bryce Harper type left-handed swing. He's an absolute stud. That kid's gonna be hitting bombs in Colorado for years to come. They then took Drew Romo, who is one of the top-rated catchers in the draft. Chris McMahon, who may not have necessarily the overpowering 99-mile-an-hour stuff, but this kid can pitch. He is a straight-up pitcher. Sam Weatherly, an interesting left-handed pitching prospect who has some exciting stuff. Case Williams, pretty lively right-handed arm from Colorado as well, keeping it local. And the final pick was Jack Blomgren. For me, I love what the Rockies did at the start of the draft. They went like one of the best outfielders, one of the best catchers, one of the best pitchers, like command-wise. So Rockies get a B+ from me. They did a phenomenal job. The Detroit Tigers, number 1 overall pick in the draft, got to start off with a banger. Spencer Torkelson. I've talked about him before. He's Paul Goldschmidt, volume 2. They then followed it up with Dylan Dingler, who's one of the top-rated catchers. Now, while I might not be high on him, there are a lot of good things to like about Dylan Dingler. Danny Cabrera, outfielder from LSU, they took next. A lot of comparisons to Brett Gardner. I see the swing. I think he's a better player. Trey Cruz, didn't like this pick. Gage Workman, too. I know he has some good college numbers, but I'm not a huge guy on Gage Workman. Colt Keith, though, in the 5th, that's a really good pick. Colt Keith is going to be a solid player for the Tigers, I think, going forward. Overall, I gave them a B. Above average draft for sure. Now, for the trash can bangers, the Houston Astros. We know about not having a first-round pick. That's a huge loss. They ended up taking Alex Santos the 2nd with their first pick in the draft. Nice right-handed pitcher, but we haven't seen a whole lot of him pitching-wise. Tends to peter out as the season goes on, so who knows how long that lively arm can really last. Ty Brown was their 2nd pick. Got a weird arm to me. I'm not very high on this guy. I think he's a reliever at most. They then took Zach Daniels, who's an interesting prospect. Power like crazy. He has a plus hit tool, just consistency-wise, he needs to get there a little bit more. To me, the Astros, one, didn't have a lot of picks, and what they did with them, there was no guys who I'm like, yo, this guy's special. So I'm gonna give the Astros a D, one of the worst grades in the draft. Next up, we got the Kansas City Royals, who got it started in the first round with Asa Lacy, the best left-handed pitcher in the draft, the best pitcher in the draft, in my opinion, didn't matter where. He dropped them all the way at number 4. That's fantastic. Nick Lofton was their 2nd pick, very safe, very conservative, Whit Merrifield like volume 2 almost. Ben Hernandez, I'm not as high on, he's just kind of a boring pitcher in my eyes. Nothing jumps off the page for me with him. Tyler Gentry, outfielder. Christian Chamberlain, left-handed reliever. He's going to come in pretty quickly, be effective. Got some good stuff out of the pen. And then Will Klein. To me, Asa Lacy is a great pick. At number 4, that's awesome. That's going to really be boosting their grade for me. That's why I give them a B. LA Angels. Only 4 picks in the draft. First round, they went with left-handed pitcher out of Louisville, Reed Detmers, who's going to be as good of a sure thing as you can probably find in the draft. He's not going to be a Clayton Kershaw ace type dominating for 10 years, but it's pretty consistent that he's going to be a solid pitcher in the majors. Patrick Corbin type guy in my eyes. David Calabrese is an outfielder out of Canada. Not as high on him. He's a really good athlete. A little guy. Good athlete, though. Werner Blakely was featured in my best picks of day 2. You know how high I am on him. He's a really exciting shortstop prospect out of Michigan. And then Adam Seminaris. To me, the Angels could have used a few more picks, but we know they made some moves like Anthony Rendon. I like the 1st and 3rd pick, and then the 2nd and 4th are still to be determined. So for me, that gives them a B rating. The other LA team up next, the LA Dodgers. They had a ton of picks in this draft, and they made them worth their while. Bobby Miller in the 1st round. Live arm. Dude's got some electric stuff out of the University of Louisville. I'm sure the Dodgers will make him great. They then took Landon Knack, who's a bit more of a relaxed pitcher, doesn't have that A+ stuff, but his command strikes out a ton of batters, doesn't walk anybody. Clayton BEETER out of Texas Tech, another guy who's got some exciting stuff on the mound, a little bit more of a work in progress. Jake Vogel, who is one of my best picks from day 2, he is going to be someone you need to keep an eye out for. Circle him, he's going to be great. And then with the last 2 picks, they took Carson Taylor and Gavin Stone, who I'm not as high on, but that's expected as they are lower picks. To me, the Dodgers, really solid draft top to bottom. I give them a B+ rating. Very, very close to A, though. It was like right on that borderline. The Miami Marlins, they took pitchers. Kind of obvious what their plan was. Got started with the number 3 overall pick. They took Max Meyer, which was a bit of a surprise. He's one of the top pitchers on the board without a doubt. I think I had him ranked like 12th. Crazy high ceiling on him, but there's also a chance that maybe he doesn't pan out and he becomes a reliever. Still though, I like the pick of Max Meyer. I think it's good. Daxton Fulton is one of my favorite left-handed high school pitchers in the draft. He dropped a little bit. He would have been a first-round talent because he had Tommy John surgery recently, so there's a little bit of that concern, but he's got some filthy stuff. Kyle Nicholas, another arm. All these guys are arms. Zach McCambley has some stuff to work with. I don't think he's as surefire as some of these other guys, but again, he's taken later. Jake Eater, not as high on him. He's probably like my least favorite pick in this draft by the Marlins. And then they took Kyle Hurt, a nice like solid right-handed pitcher out of University of Southern California. Yeah, we only call USC one school. That's my school, the Gamecocks. The Marlins clearly had a plan. They were going pitching, they were going heavy, and they got a lot of really good arms. I gave them a B+ grade. The Milwaukee Brewers. I'm always tough on the Brewers, but today, Brewers fans, you got something to be happy about. I kind of like their draft. Garrett Mitchell in the 1st round. He dropped right into their laps. I think that's a great pick. He's a guy who maybe needs to develop the to hit to a little bit more consistently. And there are some concerns because he is a type 1 diabetic, although I don't get it. I think that shouldn't have a big impact on his draft status. A lot of people had him ranked inside the top 10 players in the country this year, top 10 players in the draft. For the Brewers to get him where they got him, I think that's a great pick. Freddie Zamora was a weird one. I don't like this pick one bit. They took Xavier Warren, who, shout out to him, he commented on my video calling him one of the best picks of day 2. Joey Weimer's interesting. Big power, fast, good athlete, doesn't really hit consistently. So I like the idea of him. Let's see what the Brewers can do. And then Hayden Cantrell, who you might know because he does a little bit of YouTube, pretty good player. So for the Brewers, I'm gonna give them a B. I don't think that they necessarily got like any revolutionary, groundbreaking type player, but they got a lot of really solid guys. Would have loved to see them get some pitching though. Why are the Brewers so anti-pitching? What's going on? Minnesota Twins, weird draft. Start off with Aaron Sabato, who is basically a first base DH kind of guy in the first round. Good hitter, lots of pop. They then went with Alaric Solare out of the University of Tennessee, outfielder, who again has a really good swing possibility. A lot of pop in his bat. They followed it up with Marco Raya, who is actually a pretty decent looking pitcher out of high school. I like what they got there. And then they finished it up with Kalai Rosario. To me, 3 of the 4 picks are just a little lackluster. Wasn't crazy about them. I think the Twins had an opportunity to get some really interesting guys, and they ended up going elsewhere. So for me, the Twins, C-. The New York Mets. Now, I'm sure all of you expect me to give them an A+, because I'm biased. But no, I'm being fair to the Mets, as I always am. Pete Crow Armstrong in the first round. Not one of my favorite prospects, but obviously he is definitely a first-round talent. All-around good player. A lot of good stuff to work with there. JT Ginn in the second round, who has the first-round talent. It's just he recently got Tommy John. Isaiah Green, an outfielder that they took next. Ooh, the ceiling's high on this kid. He has a nice left-handed swing. A lot of pop in that bat, potentially. Anthony Walters, weird pick. Turns out that he didn't sign for very much, so that's kind of what makes some sense there. Matt Dyer plays pretty much every position. Caught a little bit. Outfield, infield, wherever you need him. Great athlete. And then Eric Orz out of the University of New Orleans, pitcher. I kind of like that pick too, but there's a lot of high risk, high reward type stuff here with the Mets. I'm gonna give him a B. New York Yankees now. Yankees only had 3 picks. They made some moves. You know, Garrett Cole kind of loses them a pick. They got Austin Wells in the first round, catcher slash first baseman slash maybe corner outfielder. Kyle Schwarber, essentially out of the University of Arizona. I actually like the pick. I think that's pretty good. Trevor Hauver was the next pick, and it's okay. Not groundbreaking, not shaking the world. And then the last pick was Beck Way, who I haven't really been able to find much on. So for those reasons, I can't give my full opinion on him. One of the few guys that there's not a lot on in these drafts. For me, the Yankees, just like a boring draft, pretty safe. C. I don't think it was bad. I don't think it was good. Heading out west to the Oakland A's. Got it started off with Tyler Soderstrom in the first round. To me, not one of the best prospects in the draft. I haven't been high on this kid from the start, so I didn't like that pick in the first. Jeff Criswell was their next pick out of the University of Michigan. Nice little right-handed pitcher. I don't think anything jumps off the board from him. Their next 2 picks, though, I actually am a little more excited about. Michael Goldberg out of Georgia Tech, who I think actually a really nice bat. Just haven't seen a lot out of him in the field, so I don't know what he's like out there in the outfield, but pretty solid bat. And then Dane Acker, kind of like the under-the-radar pitcher of the University of Oklahoma. You got Cade Cavallo, you got some big arms out there. Dane Acker's a pitcher. Hopped around from a bunch of different colleges, but I think he's going to be pretty solid. For me, the Oakland A's, you missed in that first round. Second round was okay. Third round was good. Fourth round was good, but nothing like really jumped off the page to me of like, oh my goodness, so they get a C+. The 4th place Phillies are up now. Mick Abel in the first round, probably one of the best right-handed pitching prospects out of high school in the draft. One of the best high school pitchers. Electric arm, great stuff. Big lanky kid. He's going to be scary in the future. They then took another one of the best picks of day 2 in Casey Martin out of the University of Arkansas. Maybe not a shortstop, but he can play a bunch of different positions and he can swing the bat. Carson Ragsdale was their 3rd pick, live arm. And they finished up with Barron Radcliffe, who kind of looks a little bit like Ryan Howard. He posted a picture the other day. A couple interesting picks, a couple guys towards the bottom with some decent potential. I'm gonna give the Phillies a B+ rating. I like their draft a pretty good amount. Staying in the state of Pennsylvania, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates up next. First pick for them was Nick Gonzalez, one of the most MLB ready players in the draft right now. Second baseman, hits for some good pop, very good hitter, decent in the field as well. I call him a different version of Keston Hiura. Carmen Mudzinski out of the University of South Carolina, who of course I'm gonna have some bias for. I don't care. I think this guy's gonna be really good. I love what I'm seeing out of him from the mound. Was because he hadn't been a starting pitcher that long at South Carolina, so they just want to see a little more out of him. Jared Jones, pretty interesting pitcher. Nick Garcia, pretty interesting pitcher. He's got some good stuff. Jack Hartman, pretty interesting pitcher. He's got some good stuff. And then Logan Hoffman. Overall for the Pirates, I like their draft, B+. San Diego Padres got one of my favorite players in the draft in Robert Hassel III. He's fantastic. Great first round pick. He's gonna be so good. Competitive balance round, they went Justin Lang. Big right-hander out of high school. He's got some really electric stuff. Just needs to learn how to pitch a little more. They followed up with Owen Cassie out of Canada. Big left-handed hitter, outfielder. Cole Wilcox, one of my best picks of day 2. I thought he was a first-round talent. He went in the 3rd. Levi Thomas, Jagger Haynes, both good pitchers in the late rounds. I like what the Padres did. The Padres get an A. Great job in the draft. Staying in the National League West, we got the San Francisco Giants, who got it started in the first round with another catcher, Patrick Bailey. He is the best catcher in the draft, in my opinion, in most people's opinion. Great defensively, so that probably leads you to believe that Joey Bart might be a first baseman down the line. Casey Schmidt in the 2nd round. I'm not very high on Casey Schmidt, not gonna lie. They then went after Nick Swinney, left-handed pitcher at NC State, and Jimmy Glowinski out of Dallas Baptist. Jimmy Glowinski, great name. I think he's an okay little player. player. Nick Swinney to me feels like almost Gio Gonzalez-like. Never going to be like an ace, but he could be a solid guy at the back end of a rotation to eat some innings. Kyle Harrison, a really interesting left-handed pitcher out of high school in California. I love his stuff. He has the potential to be really special. RJ Dabovich, I think he's got an awesome arm. And their last pick was Ryan Murphy out of Lemoyne College in New York. Giants overall, while they did have some misses, they also had some great hits here. They're gonna get a B. The Seattle Mariners are up next here, staying in that northwest area. Emerson Hancock in the first round. You know how much I like his arm. Super live, super good stuff. Zach DeLoach, one of my best picks of day 2. What else do I have to tell you? Connor Phillips, exciting right-handed arm. Aiden Polkovich, this is a weird pick, didn't like this one. Tyler Keenan, he's listed as the third baseman. He's a first baseman, let's be honest, from Ole Miss. Big power, though. And then Taylor Dollard, who a lot of people are excited about. Mariners, pretty good draft, above average, B-. St. Louis Cardinals, one of the best drafts in baseball. Gotta start off with Jordan Walker, who is going to be a project. But boy, is his potential through the roof. He is one of the more exciting high school prospects in this draft. Massive kid, massive power. Want to see him just build that swing up a little bit more, get a little more athletic in the field. They then took Mason Wynn, who throws heat. He needs to learn how to pitch a little bit, but, you know, the Cardinals know something about some guys who throw heat. Jordan Hicks is doing pretty well. Followed it up with Tink Hence, who might win the best name of the draft. Another really exciting right-handed arm. Alec Burleson, outfielder from East Carolina. Levi Prater, Ian Bedell, 2 solid arms. And they finished it up with LJ Jones V. Pretty much all these picks I like. A for the Cardinals. Great draft. Tampa Bay Rays, interesting draft. Started off with Nick Bitsko, big right-handed arm out of high school. Not a lot to see about this guy, but all the numbers, all the analytics, they tell you he could be something very special. Didn't like the pick of Alika Williams. Didn't make sense to me that early for a guy who really can't hit at all. Ian Seymour out of Virginia Tech just feels like someone the Rays are going to turn into another star. That just feels like their type of player. Hunter Barnhart, pitcher out of high school in California. He's interesting. Another pretty fun pick from the Rays. They then went Tanner Murray, who is one of my lowest rated players in the draft. Not very high on him. And finished it off with Jeff Hackinson. Overall for the Rays, B-rated draft. It was pretty good. Last 3 teams here in today's video, we got the Texas Rangers, who had one of the worst drafts in my opinion. Got to start off crazy at number 14 with Justin Foscue. I don't understand that pick one bit. I think I ranked him in the 40 or 50 range. I'm not high on Justin Foscue. Call me crazy, that's fine. If I'm right, I'm gonna take credit for it. If I'm wrong, please tell me I'm wrong. Evan Carter is probably my favorite guy that they took in the draft. Outfielder out of Tennessee. I like what I'm seeing there. He's a big boy, 6'4" out of high school. They then followed it up with Takoa Roby, who I'm like, Takoa Roby, okay. I don't really see like this plus stuff out of him. I don't know how good he's really gonna be. Followed it up with Dylan McLean. They went with a bunch of high school guys here. They went very, very young after going Foscue in the first round. And then their final pick was Thomas Seguis. I'm not very high on most of these guys. I'm a bit of a doubter. I'm gonna say it. I'm a hater. Texas Rangers D, one of the worst drafts, if not the worst in baseball. North of the border, Toronto Blue Jays, fantastic draft. They got a steal with Austin Martin at number 5. He fell right into their lap. As much as I thought that they should take Zach Veen, it's because I didn't think Austin Martin would be there. You take Austin Martin, great friggin' pick. They then followed up with CJ Van Eyck, who's one of my favorite right-handed pitchers out of college in this draft. Trent Palmer was their next pick. He's a relief arm, but he could be a really good reliever. Nick Frasso, another relief arm to me, but again, good reliever type stuff. And they took Zach Britton for what feels like memes, but he's actually a pretty good player in the 5th. Overall, I gave the Blue Jays an A. Literally getting Austin Martin and CJ Van Eyck in the first 2 rounds, like, that's fantastic. That's such a good job. And then last but certainly not least is the World Series champions in 2019 Washington Nationals, who had a phenomenal draft. The best draft in my opinion. KADE Cavalli in the first round. Stud. Love KADE Cavalli. His stuff is crazy good. Crazy heavy fastball. Just, he's filthy. Cole Henry in the second round. Filthy stuff. Throws heat. The first 2 guys I mentioned have already been mentioned in both of my best videos thus far in the draft. The next guy, Sammy Infante, also mentioned in my best picks video. He's awesome. He's through the roof. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Infante. Holden Powell, reliever out of UCLA, one of the best relievers in college baseball the last year. He's got some good stuff. Gonna be coming up through the minors pretty quickly, I would think. Brady Lindsley, catcher out of Oklahoma. Not a lot to see there, so I'm not sure. I can't give an explanation on him. And then Mitchell Parker, a very interesting, very exciting big left-hander out of JUCO. I would love to see what the Nationals can mold him into, because we know that they are phenomenal at pitching. Overall, Nationals best draft of them all. A+ rating. Love the Nationals draft. So those are my grades for every team in the 2020 MLB draft. I'd love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Remember to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, as well as subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, all that stuff. Links in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the amazing support in the 2020 MLB draft content. This is it. That's the last 2020 MLB draft video we're going to be making for a little bit. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. You know the drill from here on out. YouTube recommends you watch this video, as well as this is my most recent upload. Thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you'll see me tomorrow for another video. Bye.